Ah, yes, the end of the year, the time to, reflect on the past year and see how far you've come and everything that you did. And at the end of the year, we have done a lot. So shall we reflect? Let's get introductions out of the way. Hi, my name is Bianca here on my channel. I talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then that sounds like your cup of tea, then go ahead and watch this whole video. So, as I mentioned earlier in this video, it is the time to reflect. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. I'm so happy I got to hit this milestone before the year ended. So thank you so much for that. To celebrate you reaching 1,000 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. And either I'll have this video posted on Saturday or
next Saturday.
And the reason why there's such a big difference because I am going out of town and I'm recording this on a Thursday, so I'll have it recorded, but it takes me a while to edit. So like I said, either I'll have it up by Saturday or Monday. So whenever I decide to release this video, 3 weeks from there, I'll give it that giveaway. And to be part of the giveaway, all you have to do is sub to the channel and leave a comment. And whenever the 3 weeks are up, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but I'll either do a live or I'll just, post it on the community tab who won the giveaway. And what is the giveaway, you may ask? It's $100. It's just something that I wanted to give back to you guys for, supporting me and watching my content because it really does mean a lot. So thank you very much. Alrighty, so let's get on to this video. So I got this idea from Colleen Rex Manga. I'll link her channel down below if you want to check her out. She reviews a lot of manga and sometimes anime. But what I liked about her top manga of 2022 is that it wasn't manga that got released in 2022, but it's just stuff that she read this year. So that's what I'm going to do, but with anime. So with my list, it's not in any particular order except for the #1 spot because that one really was my favorite of the year. I will not be mentioning anime that I already made separate videos, even though the ones that I reviewed this year I really loved as well, but I won't be touching on those. I'm going to do animes that I haven't talked about. So let's get on with the first one with Kotaro Lives Alone. Y'all, when I watched this one, I didn't know what to expect. I just saw it one day on Netflix because sometimes on Netflix I just be scrolling through stuff because you be finding some good things. And this one popped up and I was like, oh, well, this looks kind of cutesy. This looks kind of wholesome. Let's watch it. Let's see what it's about. And what this anime is about is pretty much Kotaro lives alone. He's either a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old who's in kindergarten, and he lives alone in his apartment complex. But of course, his neighbors see oh my gosh, this little boy's living alone. So kind of the residents of the apartment complex check in on him. There's one guy who really takes good care of him. He kind of becomes his guardian, and he walks him to school. And this anime made me cry so much, and I'm already a crybaby. I'm already sensitive and emotional, so it doesn't take a lot for me to cry. But this anime just resonated with me so much. We see the world in the point of view of this 4-year-old, and his whole story was that he came from an abusive father home. Something happened to his mother, which later on we find out she dies, and so that's why he ends up living in this apartment alone because he doesn't want his dad to find him, because turns out his dad is looking for him. And so this is just, it is a wholesome anime because then you watch the other residents. There's one resident guy who you think he's a creep at first, but no, it just turns out he has a son that's Kotaro's age, and he doesn't get to see him as often because he's divorced from his wife. And it's just so cute in that sense that they focus about having a found family and coming together as a community to take one of another. And it was so touching and so emotional in a way that an anime like that hasn't made me felt in a long time, where I've connected to it so personally. So I really enjoyed this one. The second one on my list, Fruit Basket. And I was holding off on it because I was like, oh, this is just your typical triangle romance. No way it can be that profound. Me going into this anime, I really thought it was just gonna be about romance, but it was so much more than that. Fruit Basket is about a girl that lives alone in a tent. These two guys stumble across her in the woods, and they're like, why are you living out here? And she's just like, oh, I'm just camping, just having a good time out here. And they're like, no, come with us. And so she ends up living with them. But turns out these people that she comes in contact with are zodiac signs. And so there's this whole backstory with the zodiac signs that each one represents one. And Todo, our main girl, she is very caring of others throughout the anime. Like you can see her, Kaio, who is like the main lead of this, like first not really like each other, but then over time like develop their relationships. And she's always here, always helping her friends. And then she also starts a platonic relationship with this other character who's in this series called Yuki. It's so refreshing to see that, you know, to see a platonic relationship between a male and a female. And like, you know, and they all suffer from this kind of like weird relationship with their like god. And this anime just ended up being one of my favorites because when you finally see Todo and Kaio get together at the end, it is so goddamn rewarding. I tell you what, like you finally see, like you see this relationship develop over time. You're like, are they gonna get together? Are they not? Are they finally gonna, you know, are they finally gonna reveal their feelings for each other? They finally do. And it's just, oh my gosh, I don't want to spoil it anymore. But if you haven't seen Fruit Baskets, like I highly recommend it. It talks about, you know, being in relationships that are toxic and how to get out of them and how to deal with them. And this one was a 10 out of 10 would recommend. Can you hear my heart beating, tired of feeling never enough? If you guessed Yuri on Ice after I sang that little intro, then you have guessed correctly. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I took this long to watch Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice was giving me everything. Like, I'm not really a big like sports anime person. Like, I've seen Haiku. I didn't know, like I knew it was a little bit of like, you know, some boy on boy love in there, but I thought mostly it was about ice skating. And it was giving me everything. The ice skating sequences in this anime are just so beautiful. I mean, they're not perfect all the time, but over the time, like you can see Yuri getting better and better. And before I get too ahead of myself, let me explain what Yuri on Ice is. Yuri on Ice is about this man named Yuri who is trying to win gold. And you know, year after year, like he just has been flopping. When he's 25, he decides like he's done. However, though, his family owns like this spa like resort area. One of the greatest ice skaters there, Victor, shows up and he's like, I'll be your coach. And then later on you find out the reason that he does that is because one of the past competitions, you know, they had an after party. Yuri ended up being drunk and Yuri's like, oh Victor, like will you please be my coach? And so, you know, fast forward, here we are, Victor being Yuri's coach. And Yuri isn't a bad ice skater, but Victor really like, you know, pushes him to the limit, like, you know, show your emotions, like show me what you're feeling when you're skating. And like little by little you see Yuri doing better on his programs. And it's so satisfying at the end because you see Yuri really come into his own and, you know, he puts on his best performance. He still doesn't win gold, but like, you know, he finally places in the top 3. And like the relationship between Yuri and Victor is, it is so freaking cute. It was just like, oh my gosh, like I got love into this and I have the skating, and which honestly like the love isn't like so in your face. It's not like the main focus. Like the main focus is him and ice skating. And like it was just a freaking cute anime. I can't believe I waited that long to see it because, you know, myself as a queer person, I love seeing the queer representation in a healthy, you know, non-toxic way or a non-sexual way. And I think I've seen Yuri on Ice at least 3 times this year already because that's how much I love it. And that freaking opening, it is a banger. It is a banger. The next one we'll be talking about is The Promised Neverland, and I knew this anime was gonna be a little bit different because people were talking about like, you know, these kids that are being, you know, bred on a farm to be eaten and stuff. But like I was literally on the edge of my seat on season 1 like on every episode. Like, and I know people have a lot of complaints on season 2, and I've already seen season 2 as well, and I liked it, but that's me coming from someone who hasn't read the manga. And apparently there was a lot of things missing in the anime that they showed in the manga. But I mean, that's kind of like what happens, you know, typically when there's like an anime adaptation, they don't always include everything that the manga includes. However though, I do say that the last couple episodes of season 2 felt extremely rushed. It felt like we were missing a whole chunk of it, and even someone who hasn't read the manga, I could tell. Promised Neverland, I feel like deserves more credit than it did. Like, I understand people were upset about season 2, but I still thought season 2 was, you know, good for someone who didn't read the manga, and especially season 1. Like Emma, Ray, and Norman, like I think they're my favorite trio because they complement each other so well. So The Promised Neverland, it has really pretty colors and animation. I really enjoyed it. And so if you haven't seen it, I would definitely check it out. Alrighty, number 5 on my list I have on here is My Love Story. You guys, I came across it on Crunchyroll because, you know, my recommended, so I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. First of all, I love that it was a 24 episode anime because, you know, nowadays these seasons be only giving us 12 episodes. My Love Story is about this guy named Takeo who is not your conventionally attractive young man. He has a best friend who's like, you know, the typical handsome, but his whole life, like, he just wants a girlfriend. He just wants a little bit of love. And so he ends up like helping this girl on the subway, and then turns out this girl Rinko, she ends up developing feelings for Takeo. And it's just so cute because at first Takeo's like, he thinks in his mind, oh, she's just trying to get with, you know, my best friend. Like, if that's okay, like if that's the case and that's okay, then I'm gonna help my best friend, you know, get with this girl. And like, he's just so wholesome, and like, he really has his best friend's back. You know, turns out, you know, Rinko, like, no, she's here for Takeo, and she really finds him attractive and really wants to get to know him. So the point is, like, you know, it takes a lot of convincing for him to, you know, realize that. But then like the end of dating, it is just so cute. Like, watching this anime, you know, give me like the feelings like when I was dating my husband. Like, you know, like that young love, like you're kind of awkward at first, like holding hands is like super nerve-wracking, having your first kiss, like super nervous too, and it's just like, oh, like it brought me back to that feeling. And you know, over time, like you know, you see them like really get to know each other and do like little things for each other. And there's not much going on because you just really focus on you just pretty much focus on their love story. And I'm so glad I stumbled upon this anime because I've stated many times before, I love. I'm a sucker for love, so anything with love in it, like, I'm gonna give it a chance and see what it's all about. It is just so refreshing to have like a simple love story that doesn't over sexualize the female characters, and you know, just see them develop their relationship over time, and then you finally see them kiss and then hold hands, and it's all just very cute. If you're into romance anime, I would definitely put this one on your list if you haven't checked it out yet. Before I get to my number 1 anime that like I really love this year and like it took me for a ride, I want to do an honorable mention. I put it as an honorable mention because it was one that I liked, but I just had so many frustrations with it that I liked it and I didn't at the same time. And the one I'm talking about is The Classroom Elite. Was a really good anime. Like, I liked the plot. The main character is very interesting. I love how the anime doesn't give everything right away because there's already 2 seasons out, but it doesn't give everything right away. Like, you just learn little by little, and like the main character is like really smart, and I love that. But there were just too many little things that really annoyed me. I hate when there's high schoolers that look like freaking 30-year-olds. Like, I just don't understand that. Like, make them all look like high schoolers. So that's something that really bugs me, and I don't know why. I mean, I've seen this in other animes, but specifically for this one, for some reason, it just really annoys the heck out of me. Second of all, there's too much fan service, and I understand this is targeted towards guys, like, no problem. I watch plenty of animes where I'm not the target audience, but there's just so much fan service. And I've said in another video that for me, as someone who, you know, is older, like if I was like in high school, like it wouldn't bother me as much because it's fine. But since like I'm older now, and like seeing like high school girls like in like lingerie and like upskirt shots and like, or like they're just boobs, like, because they constantly like pan it on their boobs and stuff, I don't know, it just makes me uncomfortable. And I understand it is an animation, it's fictional, but it still makes me uncomfortable. And I don't say that just for anime, but I also say that for, like, you know, live action like stuff, like TV shows. Like if I see anything inappropriate things with like minors, it just makes me feel kind of icky. It makes me feel like I'm the perv like looking at it too, and I'm just like, ugh. So there's just too many fan service in this anime. There's literally one episode where it's all dedicated to someone stealing a girl's panties, and I'm just like, why? Like, y'all could have done so much, but that's what y'all decided to do. And like I said, I know I'm probably gonna get some hate for this. I understand that I'm not the target audience, but I feel like the fan service is way too much. So with all these like little things adding up, it just it was hard for me to finish this anime, because like I said, I really liked it. Like the main character, like the way the creators are going with the show, like it's interesting, but it's also irritating at the same time. I started my whole round without even explaining what Classroom of the Elite was. You see, you can tell how irritated I am by that. But Classroom of the Elite is about this anime where all these like selected students, like the smart students in Japan, go to this rural area where literally it's just the students, and they have like shopping centers there and their school, and they're not allowed to like contact the outside world. So it's literally just all them in this area of their school. So they have everything they need. So everything they need, they have it right there. And the students are separated from classes A through D, and pretty much if you're in the D class, you're trying to get to the A spot, and if you're in A, you're trying to stay at that point. And like there's all these rules and system that's so intricate, like, and so fascinating. Like, you know, they really put a lot of time into it. And so, but with our main character that we follow, he has like this weird background. Like, he pretends not to be as smart as he does, but it turns out like he's actually like very manipulative, and he doesn't understand humans. And we find out a little bit from his background that he probably was raised up like in a lab or something to be as smart as he is. As I explained, like, you know, they put a lot of thought into the writing and stuff, into the plot, into the characters and all these rules. But then with all these other things with the characters and the fan servers, like, it was just hard for me to watch. But I did also enjoy it, so that's why it's just like an honorable mention. Alright, so the lighting looks a little bit different and my hair looks dried out, is because I filmed this after work. So let's get into the last anime that I really enjoyed of 2022. So this anime has been actually out for a while, but you know, it was on my list. It was something that I was ready to watch, and I was decided one day, like, you know what, like, let's go ahead and watch it. And the anime I'm going to be talking about is Death Note. A lot of people that I talk to who watch anime, they're like, oh, you haven't seen you have to see Death Note. And when I finally saw it, it was so good. Like, it lived up to the hype. Like, I didn't think it was, because, like, you know, it was like an older anime, so the animation, which, I mean, like I said, for the time this anime came out, the animation isn't that great, but like the story is good, the character is good. Like, I've never hated a protagonist as much as I did Light, because he just got on my nerves. And I know a lot of people think he's like a good villain, he's a good like antagonist, but for me, and he was, like, don't get me wrong, but he just pissed me off. And before I get into my little rant, let me tell you what Death Note is about. So Death Note follows this student named Light Yagami, and he finds his Death Note. And what this Death Note is that you write a name in there and that person dies, and you can like say how they die, or if you don't specify how they die, then they just die of a heart attack. And pretty much, you know, Japan gets a hold of this, and they're like, okay, well, we can't have this murderer just, you know, running around like killing all these criminals. Yeah, he's just killing criminals, but it's still murder at the end of the day, so we can't let it happen. And so it turns out it's Light who finds his notebook, and he is just a high schooler at this point, so he thinks, oh, I can create a new world, and in this new world I can be a god. Which is kind of problematic, because sure, fine, like, I think the typical person would like to get rid of, like, you know, the bad people in the world, the evil people, but no one's over here trying to create a new world, trying to be a god in it. With the rise of the murders of criminals going around, of course the Japanese police get into it, and they pretty much open an investigation trying to find out who the killer is, and they, you know, name the killer Kira. And they bring in this detective, like, that's supposed to be like the most like top detective, and then his nickname is Light. Like, he's supposed to solve any crime. He has solved all of like Japan's most mysterious crimes. This anime is 37 episodes long, which I appreciate. It comes to like a complete end, and which I love. But the catch in this anime is that Light's dad, you know, the owner of the killer notebook, his dad is the freaking chief of the police department. So pretty much Light knows their step every single way. At one point, he even gets involved in it, because Light is this like super smart, super intelligent, like advanced student apparently, that has helped the Japan Police Department before solve crimes. And you know, and there's these Shiagamis that own the Death Note, and they talk to Light, and like it has like a little bit of comedy in it. And I just love the Shiagami, especially Raku. I think he's so funny. I understand now why people hyped up this anime so much, because like the plot is super interesting, the characters are really interesting, and you can just see things develop over time. As you see him progress, he starts manipulating people, especially this one girl named Misa. Like, she falls in love with Kira, because Kira ends up killing the intruder that killed her parents. So then she finds out that Light is Kira, and so you know she falls in love with him, but he just manipulates her. And I won't give too much spoilers, but in the second half we follow Light, and he's much older, but he still has a Death Note, so there's new detectives chasing after him. And so to me, I think Death Note came to a very like satisfying end. But yes, that is my top animes that I really enjoyed of 2022. Like I said, these weren't the ones that were released this year, but these are only the ones that I watched this year. But yeah, 2022 has been a crazy year. First of all, with my grandma passing away, but then I've been able to see my little brother more this year, and then I was able to reach 1,000 subscribers on my channel, which again, thank you guys so much for that. You guys really don't know how much that means to me. 2022 was a pretty good year, besides like that really sad thing that happened, but I know my grandma's no longer suffering and she's in a better place, and I have grown like my supporters. And yeah, I just have to take it day by day, and I'm just really glad to be here. So if you stuck to the end of this video, thank you so much. I appreciate you sticking around. And if you like this video, please give it a like and share it. And if you didn't like it, go ahead, let me know down in the comments why you didn't like it. And what are some of your favorite animes that you watched this year? If you haven't subscribed, it is okay. I understand. You gotta fill me out. You gotta check out the rest of my videos, and that's okay. So go ahead and check them out when you're done with this one, and you might be surprised and find something that you like. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.